Hey, welcome back to more drawing instructions. A lot of people believe skin tones and colors are really hard to figure out, but I'm going to give you a method that will hopefully make it understandable and usable so you can get some good skin tones. We're going to use our hand drawing again, so if you still have your plexiglass drawing around, use it. If not, make a new one. Get a strong light source, transfer that design onto a new piece of paper. You've done this several times, not a big deal at this point. And then last time we used graphite and just drew a value hand drawing so that it popped off the page. This time we're going to reference our value, but we're going to create one in color. We're going to do that by first figuring out what colors we should use. So you need 3 circles. I like to trace around a quarter, but you could probably use just about anything. We're going to do complementary color sets. Skin's pretty complex, but this will at least get you close and help you understand some of the concepts. So we're going to use cross-hatching and let the colors blend, and your eye and your mind are going to mix those colors into neutralized skin tones. So you need to be really careful and really slow and really purposeful with your line work. Notice how careful I am with those orange lines. Next, I'm going to put some light blue lines on top going the opposite direction. Now you could cross them in lots of different ways for lots of different purposes, but for this, we're just testing out what our skin tones might look like. In the next section, I'm going to go ahead and do the next couple of complementary color sets. So we have orange and blue, we just did, Bronco colors. We have red and green, kind of like Christmas or Santa Claus colors. And the last complementary color set that we're going to talk about is yellow and purple. You'll notice while I'm working on the red and green, right here I flipped my pencil over. That's because my line wasn't doing what I wanted and the pencil was getting kind of flattened out. So I rotated it to get a much finer line. I need those nice controlled lines as I do this, and so will you. Remember, colored pencils are made out of wax and pigment, so they're pretty soft and get run down really fast. Go ahead and do yellow and purple next. Control those lines really carefully again. Anytime you combine complements, especially with paint, you can see this real obviously, they'll neutralize and go to gray or brown. We want them to go to flesh tones, so they need a little bit of different kind of color in them. But go ahead and stick your hand on there and figure out which one you're closest to. I put my hand on there and I decided I was orange and blue. You have to pick what you think you're closest to, or have somebody help you. The next step is to build a value scale. So trace around your quarter several times, like 5 or 6 is great. I started with the orange and then I pressed darker as I made my value scale darker. I made my lines closer together, and I picked up my blue to crosshatch. Really light, really careful. Then I started pressing a little harder, and I got all the out I could of that blue, so I switched to a darker blue, and I started getting darker and darker values. And then you'll see in a second, I actually push really hard with the colors to get them even darker, and then I pull in a little bit of purple, one of the tricks that I like to do. So how do you get this blank hand to turn into something that looks like that, a colorful, fun drawing with skin tones? Well, you're going to do your skin tones with just 2 colors. In my case, they were orange and blue. Now, you might choose other colors, so you'll have to pick yours up and decide what to do. First, maybe take a minute and decide where your dark values are and where your light values are. And then start to build up your values. I like to work light to dark. Go ahead and really carefully curve your lines and follow lines. This is actually sped up a little bit, but I'd work pretty quickly. Maybe that's 2 times as fast as I would work. I'm going to start with my light values and then add darker values as I go. That's probably the easiest way to do it and have success with this. I'm also following the curves with my hands so they follow the form. That'll exaggerate the 3-dimensional qualities. Look for where your light areas are and where your dark areas are. This hand is fully rendered in colors, and I was just really careful to watch out for my dark areas and keep adding values to those as I kept building up my drawing. And then I was really careful to keep my light values as light as I could. You'll see in a couple spots where they mix from one to the other so things look round. Highlights and cast shadows, or I'm sorry, core shadows show up pretty well. Alright, your last duty after highlights and shadows is to deal with the negative space. Put some cool colors on the bottom of her horizon line and some warm ones on top, and it should pop out towards you. Have fun with those skin tones.